Vinudhi Wahalathanthri, and I'm here with my 16th question set from the DBMS question series. So in this video, I'm going to explain y'all how to create a normalized ER diagram using the MySQL Workbench software and how to create tables in ER diagrams correctly for a given problem. So let's see what are the questions we have to answer regarding this question set. The marks of the term examinations of Colluvilla Junior College are still recorded in books. Because of this, the principal has to spend a lot of time when he needs to check the marks of the students. Therefore, the principal has decided to include the term marks of all the students studying in his school in a computer system. This software was developed by a software development company called AI Soft. The software should be able to store all student term scores and student assessment scores. The principal has decided to develop this software to include the marks of these students in grade 11 as the first stage of this software. You work as a senior software engineer at this company. You and your team are tasked with creating the database here and the SQL query used to provide the following requirements. Okay, so now over here, our task is to create this database for Colluvilla Junior College. So why are we creating these databases? So because this principal spends a lot of time to search the marks of the students when they're written in books. So it's much more easier when we insert it to a computer software. So now let's see what are the instructions given to create this database. So our first instruction given is create a database named exam marks DB to store student marks. Use the ER diagram to create this database. So now over here we are going to create an ER diagram to create this database called exam marks DB. So our database name will become exam marks DB. So let's begin to create it. I will open my MySQL Workbench software. Okay. So I'll be using my MySQL Workbench software to create this ER diagram. So I hope you all now know how to create one. So using this file option, I will go to new model. So y'all can also click Control N. Okay, so this window will appear. So now I should rename my MyDB or my MySQL schema. So once we double click on this, we can rename it. So I'll give the name as exam marks DB and rename the references. Okay. So now our database has been created. So now let's begin to create the ER diagram. So once we double click on this add diagram option, our ER diagram designing area will open. So let's check what our next instruction is. Create a table named student to store students' data. Create the table according to the instructions below. So now let's begin to create the student table. So in this student table, the index number will become our primary key. The data type will become a varchar and the length will become 10. Okay, so let's begin to create this table. So I hope you all remember how to create one. So we have an option over here in our taskbar called Place a New Table. We click on it and we click on our screen. Double click on it and then we can edit it. Okay, so our table name will become student. And now let's begin to add the column names. So our first column name will become index number and we'll give the data type as a varchar. And we'll set the length as 10. Okay. So likewise, let's begin to create the rest of the columns. Okay, so likewise, I have created the columns. Let's see how it's viewed. Okay, so our table has been created likewise. Okay, so now let's see what our next instruction is. Create a table called the student has 2 grade 11 classes. create a table called class to store the details of those classes. So now we have to create the class table. So our next table is the subject table, and next we have to create the exam term table. So in our class table, our class ID will become the primary key, and the data type is an int. So if it's an int, we can add it as an auto increment. And in our subject table, the subject ID is our primary key. And in our exam term table, the term ID will become our primary key. So likewise, let's create the rest of our tables. In this method, we created the student table. Okay, so likewise, I have created the student table, the class table, and the subject table, and the exam term table. So this is how we can create tables. So I hope you understood what I explained. So this is it for this question set. So before I end, I will synchronize this ER diagram and convert it to a normal database. So yeah, I don't need to synchronize it. Because this is a new ER diagram, I have to forward engineer this. So now I will forward engineer this, next, and forward engineer finish successfully. Okay, close. So let's see how it's viewed when we move on to our HiDSQL. So let's disconnect this and view it. So I'll type my password. And now let's open it again. So we created, yes, exam marks DB. Okay, so our class has been created. So if we move on to data, yes, exam term, subject, and student. Okay, so likewise, it has been created. So yes, so that's all for this question set. So I hope you all understood what I explained. So thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll be back with a new video. So until then, have a nice day and bye.